Hey team, good morning. I started the stream and then I had to run off and take out the trash. I forgot Friday's trash day. All right, so I ended up taking a short because it looked like it was reclaiming this level and then it just dropped right back below. So that was the position that you guys saw. Let's mark off some of our pre-market levels. So if we get a move up, we have Asia high here. And then London high here. So game plan that I posted in Discord last night was basically watching this zone here, like 24,800-ish, 24,750-ish. I was thinking if we held that, there was a chance that we could get a bounce and go long. If not, then we'd be looking for shorts. But I kind of was like, I have no idea because we have a lot of news this morning. It kind of depends on how that news release goes. So as of now, it is not holding that level. So looks like we might be looking for shorts today. Couple of interesting like bounce areas if we go up at the open and then reject. We have VWAP here right at the regular trading hours gap fill, or right around there, 24,850-ish. And then if we get a really big move up, we have Asia high and London high. That could be a decent liquidity sweep option. But yeah, for now, kind of looking like shorts are the way to go. We'll see how the market opens, though. We got about 6 minutes. How are all of you doing today? Happy Friday. Anything in particular you guys are watching for this morning? There is a lot of pre-market movement today. That was my stop loss. Stopped in profit. All right. Interested to see what we get. Good morning, chat. We got someone first timer here from South Africa. Welcome. A cold Friday. My cold can't compare to your cold. We have a little like cool front coming in this weekend. It's been, and during the day, it's been like 75 and sunny. It's been beautiful weather. But this weekend, it's supposed to get down into like the 40s overnight and 50s during the day. So colder than it has been, but I'm guessing not as cold as yours. Cold and rainy in Maryland. Oh, that's no fun. I feel like that's the worst combination. Because then not only are you cold, but you're wet and cold. Especially if your shoes get wet. Then like your toes are wet or cold. And when your toes are cold, it's hard to warm your whole body. I'm in the Houston area. Previous day value area, high, just the session or the entire day? It's just the session. So I just mark off the New York trading hours. And this yellow line, if you guys are not familiar with anchored VWAPs, that's what it is. It's anchored at the 8:30 a.m. news candle. So I use that. I've done a couple videos on it, but I use it to kind of just see who has the momentum from the news. It kind of just signals a shift in momentum. So obviously the news was bearish and it dropped down. So is it going to continue to reject this anchored VWAP and we're going to continue to see more downside? Or if we break above it, then that kind of signals that sellers are done and buyers are taking back control. So that's how I use it. I posted in Discord this morning, but my thought is that if it doesn't hold this 750-ish level, this is the next level I see down at like 24 or 520s. So obviously right now it's not holding that level, but it could just kind of be pre-market sag, fake out, and then like explode at the New York Open. So you never know what you're going to get when the session opens. Markets open, you guys. Trade safe. Let all this news settle. We got lots of stuff going on today. The message about Trade of 8 Trading View, it's not that Trade of 8 is down, just the integration between Trading View and Trade of 8 is down. So if you're the person who places your trades in Trading View, you're going to either have to connect to NinjaTrader and do it that way, because your NinjaTrader and Trade of 8 login information is actually the same. Or you can place your trades directly in Trade of 8. That's the workaround. But the only thing that's down for maintenance is the connection between TradingView and Trade of 8. Have you guys ever had a verbal conversation out loud with someone about TradingView and Trade of 8? It's a tongue twister when you say it a whole bunch of times. Cape Town, South Africa is great weather. Yeah, I've heard that. Old trader, 22 degrees with a high of 35. Ugh. Where are you again? That does not sound fun. I don't like cold weather, which is why... Ooh, my yellow dot got big when I zoomed in. Which is why I like Houston. Well, it's definitely reclaiming that 750-ish level. If I was a chasing type of trader, I could definitely take a long here. I'm not, though. A couple reasons is it's the first couple minutes of the open. Also, we have VWAP right overhead. So we could, as soon as I enter long, we could reject at 840-ish. We had a bunch of news come out. I'm going to let the first couple minutes of the open settle. But dang. What a move. Joe Leary, good question. So the way all prop firms, this isn't just Lucid, the way all prop firms handle Tradeovate or like platform issues in general is they usually look for a sign from Tradeovate that there was some sort of global issue or widespread issue. I don't know if they call it global, but like basically did multiple people have an issue? If so, then they will reverse those trades. In my experience, I've had it happen to where like Tradeovate went down and I was copy trading across 4 different platforms and I've blown all of my accounts, like 15 accounts at the same time. It was horrible. Out of those 4 different prop firms, Lucid was the only one who actually reversed the trades. The other 3 didn't. So if there was a mass issue where lots of people were having an issue, your best bet is with Lucid, but I can't say yes, they will fix it because I don't know if it was a widespread issue, if that makes sense. So what I would say is reach out to their customer support, that little chat bot on their website, to submit a ticket and they can take a look. That's what I would do. Yeah, I didn't mention that, but there is more news coming. So that's another reason to wait for a trade and not chase this, you guys. So at 9:45, we have more PMI. And then at 10 o'clock, we have Michigan sentiment. So all of those things are big news events that can move the market. What an open, though. This is intense. It's only been open for 5 minutes. This is the 5-minute chart right here. Wow. We are sitting at VWAP, yesterday's point of control, regular trading hours, gap fill, like all that, kind of a decent spot to reject if we are. I'm not taking a short though, because that was a massive move up. And no sign of sellers as of now. Yeah. Herat 114 just doing a gap fill. I don't know. Looks like a little more than a gap fill. This thing's moving. No comment from Lucid. Yeah, the common theme I've seen across all platforms, again, not just Lucid, but like Tradeify, Alpha Futures. I'm in a lot of different Discords because I trade with several prop firms. They haven't been making as many of the announcements about the outages, probably because it's getting a little bit old and it's happening daily. So they would just be making daily posts if it was something that they posted about. So yeah, just submit a ticket and they'll look into it. Well, now that we are reclaiming that original level I was looking at, I guess I can delete this green arrow. This up here would kind of be the rejection spot for, like, if we entered a long, that would be my target up there around 25.90-ish. But let's wait until news settles and find a good entry first. How did my opening range low line get so messed up? What did I do? Something's wrong with my candles. Is TradingView being funky for anyone else? I had my 15-minute opening range low set, and now that candle's not there anymore. Does anyone else feel like the last 4 months, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I feel like the last 4 months, tech and platforms and all that stuff has just been out to get us? Like, we had the Project X stuff for a while, and now Tradeivate is sucking, and today TradingView is having an issue. And for a while we had, I don't even know what it's called, but like the whole cloud whatever thing where there was some hack. That was a couple months ago where it was like the Amazon thing. Like, not just prop firms, but all kinds of platforms went down. Like, man, trading is hard enough. And now we have to deal with tech issues and freezing and not being able to have your stop loss placed and all that on top of the fact that trading is already stressful. Ugh. Not cool, man. Rhythmic, I have actually heard that Rhythmic has always had issues. Tradeivate is kind of recent, and the whole Project X thing was kind of a short-term issue. But I've never used Rhythmic, so someone else can chime in if they use it regularly. But from what I've heard in like chat rooms and from other traders, Rhythmic is pretty glitchy a lot of times. Now my candles are fixed. What an open, you guys. Do I have any tips for trading gold during Asia? That's actually on my to-do list, to record a video for how I trade gold during Asia. Because, yeah, I do have a specific strategy that's pretty much quite a bit different than what I do with NQ during the New York session. It's actually using VWAP and fibs. Shout out to G-Man if he's in the chat. He's the one that kind of introduced me to it, and then I just kept practicing it and learning it and kind of made it my own. But basically, it only works. The strategy I use is only good if gold is trending. And then if the 50% or the 61.8 fibs line up with VWAP on the pullback, I'll take a trade there. So I know that's kind of hard to like visualize if I don't have an example, but I don't have an example right here in front of me. So it's, like I said, it's on my to-do list to record a video for it. It might not happen on it, to be honest, in the next couple of weeks, for another 2 weeks or so, because I'm in the middle of moving. So probably won't be trading a whole lot next week. I'm not going to even have a desk as of Saturday. I'm selling my desk because I'm getting a different one. So recording videos might not happen for a couple days, a little bit. Lukey, your POC is different. Do you use the previous New York session? Let me look at what I have. I used the session volume profile. Let me see if I marked my lines wrong. No, that's where I have mine. Let me do it with the fixed range volume profile and see if it's different for some reason. It shouldn't be. Well, that's really strange. Usually when you do the fixed range volume profile compared to the session volume profile indicator that I have, they're the same. I've never seen them that much different. But yeah, when I do that fixed range volume profile tool, my point of control is at 802. Very strange. I like this one better. I don't really trust indicators sometimes. I think using the indicator is just a lazy way of doing it, which I do, admittedly, but this is probably more accurate. So, Lukey, the 802 one is probably correct. All right. Let me zoom back in so we can see it a little bit better. Our 15-minute opening range is set. So interesting trade setup possibly coming would be a potential double or potential triple liquidity sweep. Plus we have news coming up. What that would look like is break out of the 15-minute opening range high, maybe grab this Asia and London high liquidity and reject. So just a possibility. The 1 minute chart on TradingView is being weird. So remember I said that 15-minute opening range low, that candle's not there. Also, the anchored VWAP is wrong. What's going on? The 5 minute is right. Is anyone else experiencing the 1 minute being wrong? Like I said, trading is hard enough. We don't need tech issues. Come on, bro. I had to do it. I have little kids. Everyone's a bro. My daughter gets so mad when her brothers say, hey, bro. She's like, I'm not a boy. So I'm not going to take a short right here, even though it is kind of playing out how I said, but that was not what I look for in a liquidity sweep, because it kind of tapped it. But for what I watch for in a liquidity sweep is like an obvious wick above and then reject. It's almost like it's taking out those stop losses and you can see it. So that's not it right there. We should show pictures of our home setups. I like that idea because I get so jealous of some of those people who have like an amazing desk setup with like 4 screens and the office is all blacked out, and then they have like some cool red and blue lights in the corner that have that like glow effect. It looks super cool. You guys would laugh at my little chintzy setup, which just makes it proof that you don't need all that fancy stuff to actually make money with trading. I just recently got 1 extra screen, but I trade off of my laptop. Maybe I can get a little upgrade though. We still have more news at 10 o'clock with the Michigan sentiment. So it looks like it is rejecting. Possibly a missed short, but it didn't give me what I was looking for before going down. So I'm not going to chase it because it still could come back up, and then we have news in 10 minutes. So that's what I'm waiting for, you guys. Your kids call mom and dad, bro? Yeah, I drew a line there. They called me bro a couple times. I was like, you better not call me bro. That's not cool. Have I ever tried algo trading? No. When did I start trading? September of 2024. So a little over a year ago. How much did I lose initially? I mean, I don't have my numbers in front of me, but just prop firm initiation fees. But I hit like a break even point in terms of what I invested versus what I took in payouts about 4 months into it. And then soon after that, I was net positive in terms of what I invested versus what I took out. Considering a long here, because it's coming down to this VWAP, I mean, the open was bullish. My only hesitation is news in 9 minutes. So might take a super small position. All right, 869 is where I entered. I did take a long. Less than normal risk because, like I said, news coming out. I'll give it room down to like 840. And then if it moves up before news and gives me the opportunity to move my stop loss to break even just to give it a risk-free trade, I'll do that. 840. So we already kind of tapped Asia high. Let's see if it makes it up to London high. Lots of people make good money using one screen. Yeah. I think those pictures of the home setups where there's like 6 screens and the one that I was talking about, they look cool. But honestly, in terms of trading, I think it would be a little overwhelming for me, or I wouldn't use a lot of those screens. Because I try to keep it simple too. So, you know, if I had like the Mag 7 over here and I was watching like QQQ here just to look for confluences, and I'm like trading NQ, but I also have ES on this screen to watch if they're moving together, like all that stuff, that would just be, whoa, my brain would explode. Keep it simple. The 10 o'clock news is not red folder. I have it as red folder. I'm on Financial Juice. And the 10 o'clock news is Michigan Sentiment. And it has a little red lightning bolt next to it. Maybe it's different on Forex Factory or other sites. Oh man, you used to have 10 charts open and then you got sidetracked and forget you're in a trade. That's not good. Well, I love to see in the chat that everyone has a simple home screen setup. That is the way to go. We should still post our home setups. That would be cool. We could be like the anti-flashy group and be like, all right, I'll one up your setup. Here's my little like janky setup plus my screenshot of a payout. What's up? I don't need fancy stuff. That would be a fun little thread to get going in our Discord. How did I learn trading? Honestly, YouTube. Just hours and hours and hours of YouTube videos, watching a ton of different strategies. Like, I've done everything, you guys. I've tried trend lines and RSI and EMAs and all kinds of stuff. And I finally found a couple things that just made sense in my brain. So videos combined with playing around in TradingView just to like practice what I was seeing in the videos myself. But that's really it. Just self-taught. Kind of just a determined, bullheaded person. Like once I get my mind set on something, I'm going to make it happen. So it kind of took over my life in terms of that's all I would watch on YouTube. And I never watched TV or anything like that. So all of my free time, like if I was going on a walk or washing dishes or whatever, I was always watching some sort of YouTube video. Yeah, the screen setups that I've seen, people are, like for example, if they trade NQ, they have the Mag 7 up plus QQQ because, you know, that's kind of can be tied to it, plus VIX. Like they kind of just have other confluences. At least the ones that I follow, they're not necessarily trading multiple things. They just have other things that they're watching for the confluence. But I'm sure there's also people that are trading multiple things. Are you a full-time trader or do I have another job or business? Good question. That's kind of a loaded question. I would not say I'm a full-time trader. Oh, what the heck? You guys see that? It like froze at my stop loss, but then kept going. Well, there's news. There's the Michigan sentiment. It's kind of just chopping around in this tight little range. Let's see where it continues. To get back to answering your question, I do have other forms of income, but trading is where I put most of my mental energy. I was a gym owner for about 15 years, so I recently sold my gym. So we have a good little nest egg from that, and also have a commercial property. So recently got some money from that. So like I don't need trading for income. I also do some like business consulting on the side for gym owners, but that's just a couple hours a week. So this is where I spend most of my time to answer your question, but I do have other forms of income. There was a period where it was just my husband's job and what I was making from trading. There we go. Let's go. Take profit hit. During that time when I was just relying on trading income, I was not trading very well. I'm a much better trader when I have other income. Yes, I do have TradeSyncer working in the background. So the way TradeSyncer works is I have all of my prop firms linked to TradeSyncer, and then I choose one leader account and I'll trade on the leader account. So this is my leader account. So you guys can only see this one trade, but that just copy traded to all of my other ones. Alrighty. Well, I didn't even notice it because I was on my other screen, but look at that. You see that red box? Let's go. That would have been a nice little short. Verisat, where's my scalping friend? Did you take a short? I know you like to go against the trend and grab those little reversals. Nice. Verisat grabbed it. That was a nice short opportunity. I was too worried about my long, so I wasn't going to immediately flip short. That makes me tilt. But I had that red box drawn up. If you guys were listening a couple minutes ago, that's where I was thinking that a good long target would be, plus previous day high. Plus this gray shaded box is a higher time frame, high volume node. So all kinds of things lining up for a short right there. It's a very bullish day, so I'm not saying that this is going to like go back to the bottom of the range. But could have been a nice little scalp. All right. 34 minutes into the open. As of now, this is our initial balance high, but that could change. I'll delete our overnight levels since we already kind of grabbed that liquidity. That trade idea is gone. You got in at 25.60. Are you still holding it? I could see it coming back down to VWAP at least, if not more. Maybe like 890s. These are big moves, you guys. Wow. All right. So, possible bounce at VWAP. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm thinking. I always try to like be transparent with you guys unless you know the emotional, like psychological side of trading too. Normally I would take a long here. This is a great setup. Like it broke out of the 15-minute opening range. It's coming back to the anchored VWAP. It looks like it's holding. I'm not taking this, but that would be a good risk to reward, even just back to the top of the range. So if you want to take it, go for it. That would be the setup. And I'll leave it there just to see if it plays out, but I'm not in it. The reason I'm not is a couple things. I've taken 2 winning trades, so I'm up pretty green. Also, well, look, it didn't play out. I'm glad I didn't take it. But more importantly, I was just thinking news. Like, there is a lot of stuff going on right now. We had like 10 different data releases this morning. And now we have the Supreme Court decision, plus Trump is having like breakfast with governors, and there's just a lot going on right now. So I think I'm going to feel better if I let it settle a little bit and just be patient. But assuming this area holds, I would be looking for longs. ATR is 43 on the 1 minute. Gosh. Yeah, that long setup that I just kind of drafted up, if I put my stop loss there, that's a 47 point stop loss. So my normal risk is $200 per trade. I would only take 2 contracts, 2 micros. So size down because of the volatility and all the news and stuff. Yeah, trade of 8 is lagging big time. It on that last trade that you guys saw, it slipped past my take profit by like $300, which I mean is nice. I'm not going to complain because I made extra money, but if that was the opposite direction and it slipped my stop loss, that would not have been cool. Did I go in for long again? I did not, Jack. I was just drawing it up. I was letting everyone know that I was watching this level. It held VWAP. I was just throwing up a trade idea, but no, I'm not in it. Looks like it's going to be a good trade though. Oh man, Chichamus, I don't pay attention to politics at all. I really only watch Financial Juice just to see like when I should get out of a trade or not be in a trade because of news releases. That's the extent of the politics that I follow. So I don't even want to know what the alternatives to tariffs are. Are we going to have a whole nother couple of weeks where the markets are crazy because Trump is doing something, shaking things up again? Oh man, you guys. Watching gold on another chart. You got to see this. This is high volume nodes in action, you guys. This gold level, if you guys have been following my charts for like 2 weeks now, it's the exact same level that has been there for a long time. I had that red box there because I was going to say that I took this short right here when it rejected the red box. It's rejecting it again. Man, I love visible range volume profile. That was a clean short right there. Yeah, I feel you on the lag. That it sounds like everyone who's commented in the chat was in a trade in the right direction, so we benefited from the lag, but it still gives you a little bit of an anxiety attack. Because what if it was the other direction? Well, the excitement of the open has died down a little bit. This is still our initial balance high. Decent failed auction opportunity, perhaps, if you guys are an initial balance trader. Something that might play out, just kind of looking at ideas. This red zone, like I was saying before, would be a possible rejection zone. Plus, this is our initial balance high. So something like this where it breaks up above the high and then quickly rejects. You know, you love my squiggly lines, you guys. I use my laptop like finger mouse pad. So it's really hard to draw straight lines with your finger. Have you guys ever done like a DocuSign where you have to try to draw your signature with a mouse? Especially if you have like a regular clicking mouse. It's hard to draw on the computer. All right, man, Smooth. Have a good weekend. How do I adopt change in position? What do you mean by that? You're talking about like how do I switch my bias, or how do I move my stop loss? I'm not sure what your question is. Oh, position sizing. Good question. If you use TradingView, you can use the system that I use. So I use, where is it? This tool over here in the projections tool. I use the long and short position. And then let's say I'm in a long and like this would be my stop loss. This over here tells me what quantity to use. I always risk the same amount per trade. So for me, it's $200 per trade. So figure out what you want to risk, and then you can adjust the position sizing based on that tool. It tells you the math. So if you go into your settings, change your risk to however many dollars you want to risk, and then inside this tool, it'll tell you quantity 1.9. So if I'm trading NQ, that would be the number of contracts I take. And it adjusts to whatever you're trading. So if I'm taking a gold trade, it'll tell me this is, if my stop loss is here, I need to take 2.5 contracts. So hopefully that answers your question. That's how I adjust my position sizing. So on a day like today, for example, like normally my stop loss is maybe 20 to 30 points. But on that last trade that I drew up that was like 50 points for the stop loss, I would only take 2 contracts. For normal volatility, when maybe I have like a 30-point stop, I would take 3 or 4 contracts. So that's how I decide to size up or down. There is a tool like that on Trade-of-8. You have to go into the community indicators, indicators here, and you have to go into the CE tools or explore community indicators. Oh, my head's in the way. It was behind my head, but if on that indicator tool, if you go into explore community indicators, and then you can type in here and search risk, I don't know, risk calculator. Any idea what it's called? I haven't installed it because I use the TradingView one. Or sizing, I don't know. Anybody know what it's called? Risk to reward tool with contract sizing. There you go. If you guys want to install it in Trade-of-8, go to the community indicators, type in sizing, and it's that one right there. Scroll down to install. And then after you install it, to put it on your screen, you'll go to indicators and then CE tools, and all the ones that you've downloaded are going to be in there. Type reward and install the third one. Yeah, I know there's several of them. Let's see what the reward one is. Risk reward drawing tool, risk reward tool. Sounds like that's the one that Kai Libriel, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry if I said that wrong, but that's the one that they were recommending. Looks pretty similar to the one in TradingView. Another bounce off of VWAP. I wasn't watching it, but that was a nice little bounce right there. I like this support level because all the VWAPs are kind of lining up in this general vicinity. For all of you guys who don't use VWAP, you're probably like, oh my gosh, that's way too many lines. But I actually like when they line up together like that because it just adds more confluence for that general zone. The lighter blue one on top is anchored at the New York Open at 9:30. The darker blue one is the overnight open at 6 p.m. The yellow one, I anchored manually at the news candle at 7:30. So far, it's been holding its support. $10 minutes until our initial balance is officially set. And then we'll see what kind of trade ideas we can take off of that. I'll show you guys some cool edgeful stats too, in case any of you guys are going to be trading the initial balance. Max loss per day when I stop trading. It depends on the account. If I have a bigger buffer, then it'll be higher. But for like a new account, then maybe I only have like $2,000 in drawdown on one of my newer 50K accounts. It's $400 per day. So that's basically 2 losses. 2 losses in a row. Because I've had someone ask me before, like, how many losses do you allow per day? If it's 2 losses in a row, I'm usually done. Because if it's $200 per trade, that's $400, I'm done. But if I have like a loss and then a win, then I still have more money left to play with. Or a win and then a loss. Oh, you guys hurt my feelings. Go hit that like button, you guys. We got 107 people watching. Let's go. 38 likes. Wah, wah. Show me some love. So that's how many micros. It depends on how big my stop loss is. Like I was saying before, I use my position tool and I'll adjust my number of contracts based on the stop loss. So like if my trade looked like this, I would take 2 contracts, if you can see those little numbers right there. Or if my stop loss was here, I would take 4.7. So 4 or 5 contracts. It depends on where my stop loss is. I don't have a set stop loss. That doesn't make sense in my brain. I know some people do that where they'll enter a trade and like automatically they have a 20-point stop loss, for example. I don't. I do it based on price action, like a wick or a level or something like that. I'm not saying that the other way is wrong. I'm just saying that doesn't work for me. What kept me from going in on the second bounce on VWAP? That was a good trade. If I was paying attention, I would have entered. So what kept me from going in, I think, is I'm already very green in my accounts. I've already had a couple wins. So mentally, I'm like, it's Friday. I'm going to be done. But also, really, I wasn't even looking at my chart. I was over here on Trade of 8 trying to figure out how to add the risk to reward tool in the community section. That was the real reason. I wasn't looking at my chart. I was distracted. All right, 6 minutes until initial balance. Kind of watching to see if it comes up to this green box, which is outside of the IB high, and we get a rejection. All right, that's a little better. We got 53 likes. It's still only like half of y'all. What do you guys have going on this weekend? Anything fun? Pickleball. I've actually never played pickleball. I think that would be fun. My husband and I have talked about trying it out before. And I think I've told you guys a couple days ago we're moving, and the neighborhood that we're moving to actually has like a community pickleball court. So I think we're going to give it a try once we get settled in. We like playing sports and doing active things. And our kids are getting old enough that they can like play those kind of things with us. So it'd be fun for my husband and I to do, like full speed, and then also just a fun family thing to do on the weekends. Keep the kids active. Oh, we got 2 pickleballers. I love it. If we ever do like an FMT meetup, we can have a little pickleball party. Trade together in the morning and then go play pickleball. IB highs coming up. What's our range today? Yikes. 400 points. This action is hard to read. Pick a trend already. Yeah. So I would say today has been pretty bullish. I shouldn't say pretty. I mean, that open was crazy. In the first 15 minutes, we had a 271 point move. So it's been quite bullish. But yes, I agree with you. If you look at the higher time frame, like zoom out to the last 3 days or so, what is this? If you go like where my cursor is right here, that was Wednesday. So the last 3 days we've been stuck in this range with quite a few fake outs. Like this morning, we broke below that 750 level I was watching and it looked pretty bearish, and then all of a sudden just blasted up. But now we're coming to the top of this level. So are we going to reject back now? But yeah, look at this little square that we're in. That's been the range. Another reason that, I mean, we're at the top of initial balance high and the top of that range that we've been in, we might get a decent short opportunity if it rejects up there. What are the other lines that I'm using? I know, I got lots of lines right now. So the squiggly lines right here, those are VWAPs anchored at different spots. New York anchored VWAP, the session VWAP, and this is a news candle VWAP. I can delete that one now because it's kind of converging with the other ones. Volume profile, this is the previous session volume profile with the pink lines. I have the previous week volume profile with the blue lines. And then from there, it's just the 15-minute range and the 60-minute range. The gray shaded boxes like this and this, those are higher time frame support and resistance levels. I use visible range volume profile to find those. I do have, if you're interested, I have a couple of videos that explain my chart setup, like what I do at the beginning of each week to set all this up. I kind of walk through it step by step. I've done it a couple times where I just start with a completely blank chart and show you guys what I do on Sundays to get ready for the week. Well, I wonder if we're ever going to make it up to that initial balance high. Remember, it is Friday, you guys. So volume typically drops off earlier. Plus, we had a ton of volatility in the first hour. So maybe the excitement is done for a little while. I don't know. Be careful with that, though. You don't want to be like, all right, now the trend is slowing down. I'm going to size back up. And then all of a sudden it just blasts off in one direction. Gold is kind of looking the same way with that choppy slowness. After that initial move at the open, hasn't really done anything. It's actually just consolidating between the New York VWAP and the overnight VWAP. All right, so we got 2 pickleballers. What else are you guys doing this weekend? I have my last weekend of coaching basketball. I'm coaching all 3 of my kids' basketball teams. So that's what my Saturdays have been for the last 2.5 months. So last weekend of that, and then one of my boys is actually going to church camp this weekend. So he's going to miss his game. He'll be at camp. And then other than that, just packing up boxes, getting ready for next week. Beach and sun. We have some people talking about how it's cold, and we have some people talking about beach and sun. Joe Dango, where are you located? Cameron, I'm just moving right down this street, actually. A couple miles down the road. It's not like to a different state or anything exciting. Oh, Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, that's a good place to get some beach and sun action. Czar Trader, where are you? Oh my gosh. I love having the chat be in all kinds of different parts of the world. That's what I'm talking about. We have some people that are like, I'm going to be laying at the beach soaking up some sun. And then Drifter is like trying not to have his pipes burst because they're freezing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the complete opposite extremes. That's kind of funny. Canada. Well, I was hoping we would get an initial balance high trade, maybe a rejection, but at this rate, it might take us an hour to get up there. And then at that point, if it's 11:30, I don't want to trade that late on a Friday. I'm worldwide. I'm famous. You know, it's so funny. I never really expected to like become a YouTuber. I don't even like to say it out loud. Like people say I'm an influencer. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just a trader who talks to myself on my computer. I talk to my friends in the chat. But it is funny. I have one of my sons, if you ask him what he wants to be when he grows up, every time he says he wants to be a YouTuber. So like he gets excited to look at my subscriber count going up and all that stuff. I never thought I would be his role model because I'm a YouTuber. I thought it would be for something else, like because I'm strong or something like that. Nope. It's been a fun ride though. Is pickleball more complex than tennis? I think it's similar. Maybe the pickleballers in the chat can chime in on that. Every kid wants to be a YouTuber these days. Yeah, I know. I've actually been teaching him some stuff though. There's another bounce off that anchored VWAP. Where's our friend in the chat who says VWAP doesn't work? I want him to come back. That was a fun day. Yeah, my son wanting to be a YouTuber, I've actually been teaching him some stuff. So just some basic editing in like CapCut and stuff. Teaching him how to do special effects and like speed and captions and all that. I think it's a good skill. Maybe not necessarily being a YouTuber, but like editing videos and stuff. So it's fun. It's a way for us to connect and have him learn a skill instead of just sitting and watching YouTube. So it's been fun. Which app do I use? I use CapCut to do the basic like trimming and adding captions and stuff. I don't do anything fancy though. Like especially my YouTube long form stuff. I do almost nothing. Which I'm sure I could do a lot to like add in special effects and all that stuff. But I don't know. Like I said, I never really expected to be a quote unquote YouTuber. I kind of just wanted to put out good content. And apparently some people like it. So I've had this many people subscribe and follow just with super simple, like I record on my laptop camera and I trim a couple things if I mess up or something. Like I'll cut out a part where I stumbled on my words, but that's the extent of the editing that I do. And then for like I'll post thoughts on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and stuff, and I put captions on there, but that's it. I don't do any fancy edits. I constantly have people messaging me in the chat on Discord and in Instagram saying like, I could get your subscriber count up and your view count up if I edited your video and add B-roll and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm sure you could, but I don't really care. There's not really any money in YouTube. I just do it for fun. You guys would laugh if you saw how much money I actually make on YouTube. I get comments all the time on like, you're not even a trader. You just make money on YouTube. I was like, I should show you my AdSense deposit from last month and you would laugh. I don't do this for the money. I do it because it's fun. Have I used InShot for editing before? I have. So a couple minutes ago, if you hadn't heard, I mentioned I was a gym owner for about 15 years. And I did all of our marketing then I did like Facebook ads and stuff. So I do have some experience with InShot. I edited those videos for my Facebook ads a lot more than the edits that I do currently. I do like InShot. Let me pull up my apps. I use Canva a lot too. I use Canva for thumbnails and things like that. But Canva actually has some really good editing stuff. And then, yeah, InShot. There's lots of tools out there for editing. And a lot of the tools are super easy. Like it makes you look like a good video editor for simple. You don't even have to be good at it. Like you don't have to be tech savvy. Still waiting for it to hit that initial balance high. I don't know if it's going to happen, you guys. I take that back. It probably is going to happen. Just might not be anytime soon. In fact, there's an 80% chance that it will happen based on Edgeful. Edgeful says that 80% of the time there will be a single break of the initial balance. let me get the range real quick so I can make sure to get an accurate stat. 1.6%. IB is initial balance. All right, it's heading up there. Let's see if it rejects at the IB high and that red box. So looking at the edge full stats, it says that 80% of the time there's going to be a single break and the bias is long, which to me says you shouldn't be looking for shorts because it's probably not coming back down to this low. It's probably headed towards the top, which obviously it is. And then I have the stats pulled up for the retracement, which I'll bring it over to you guys here in a second. But it's showing that 43% of the time it's going to retrace 25% of the initial balance. So that is right here, 24,982. So if a short presents, that would be a decent target because 43% of the time it hits that level. So that's kind of the trade idea. But what I'm looking for is a move up above the initial balance high and then a strong rejection. There's all kinds of cool stuff on Edgeful. So this shows initial balance breakout. 79% of the time is a single break, which means it'll only break one end of the range. And since we're bullish, that means that you probably shouldn't target the bottom end of the range because then you would be in the 21% This shows the initial balance by rejection. It shows that since the low was formed first, the bias is long. 78% of the time, the IB high will break first. So this really just helps you like be confident in your bias and have data behind it. And then the retracement, what I was telling you, is this one right here, break out. So the initial balance break, if it breaks the high first versus this is the breakdown. So if it breaks the low first. So if it breaks the high first, the retracement level coming down to level 1, I know it's kind of squished, it's hard for you to see, but at 43% of the time, it'll come back down to the 25% level. So that's why that would be the target. But I'm going to wait for an actual rejection first. I'm not just going to short randomly. Looking for a strong rejection confirmed by volume and then some sort of engulfing candle to the downside. Will I go long if it retests and continues up? Yeah. So like if there's strong momentum above with volume above, and then it comes back down and retests and there's not volume with sellers, then that would make me a little more long biased. So in this spot right here, that's where I zoom into the 1 minute and kind of watch volume. Verisac got in at 25.90. Let's go. All right. I entered right here, 25.65. Stop loss is up here. I only took 2 contracts because, like I said, I'm pretty green on the day. And then going to, if it continues down, I'm going to target that 25%, which is right here at 24,982. All right, Czar Trader, have a good one. Have a good weekend. If you guys are just hopping on and you haven't already, go hit that like button. And subscribe. I do trade each day for the New York Open. If you turn on those bell notifications, you'll get notifications when I go live. Nope. And I'm out. That was a little paper cut. It was like $125 loss. Looks like it's moving up. But Praddock, to answer your question, I probably wouldn't take a long either. I don't like trading this late in a day on Friday. It could work out. It could continue up. But it also could reject. If you look down here on the bottom, there's not really any volume either way. So it's not like buyers are just aggressively going above this level, and it looks like we're going to have continuation and there's not an obvious rejection. So unless something changes in these volume candles, I'm not sold either way. It might just kind of chop around this level, honestly. Friday afternoons are hard to trade. Ace trades, have a good weekend. All right, team, I think I'm going to take my green and run, head into the weekend. If you guys are loading up on new prop firm accounts, check out Lucid. They actually just released a deal, a flash sale for 50% off all accounts. So that applies to their direct funded, their 150K accounts. Like 50% off is huge. You can use it a max of 2 times. So go grab 2 accounts at 50% off. That's a good deal. And then, of course, Tradeify is awesome too. So use code Krista. I appreciate the support. But I'm going to hop off, you guys. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week with a limited schedule because I'm moving. But I'll post the schedule in our Discord. So we'll see you around. Have a good one, you guys.